This is National Chess Master Coach Bill. We analyze a game from a team match played at chess.com between my Video Lessons Club and chess.com and Español. patzertoNM is my member and won both games. We had one video just done, and I'm going to do another one. It's a pretty interesting game. We'll learn a little bit about opening theory as we go. Okay, so this is, of course, the Ruy Lopez Morphy defense. And now white castles. Now black has, several moves here, including bishop c5, but the main lines are either to put the bishop on e7 or capture this pawn. So here we have a variation where black captures the pawn. And he's not going to keep it, as we will see. Okay, so white's sharpest move is to play d4. This activates the bishop. If black grabs another pawn, he runs into major trouble on the e file. And so, don't do that, okay? If you're playing black, don't think you can get away with it. You can't. Okay, so if they continue to follow theory, b5, bishop b3, and d5. And again, this is all main line. Now, I learned this opening way back in 1972. I had a book that covered all the major variations of all the major openings. Played through them all, and it was nearly 50 years ago, but I remember quite a lot. Now, white has two main lines here. One is to play c3, and one is to play queen e2. Queen e2 is attributed to Paul Carey's. And the essential idea of c3 is this knight here is going to go to c5 at some point and attack this bishop, and white doesn't want to part with the bishop pair too early. And Carey's came up with the idea of queen e2, which is what is played in the game. But black does not play knight c5, and I'm not going to go into the analysis of this position. But suffice it to say that black will win the bishop pair, but white has a decent game. But there's also another move here that come to my attention in the years since, and that is to play knight d2. Okay, now there's some really interesting stuff here, and I'm not going to go in full detail about it, but the natural move here is to play knight c5 and go after the bishop. And after here, here we want to try to keep the bishop if we can. Black takes, and now black needs to continue his development, right? So let's play bishop e7 and get rid of the castle. But white has this very interesting move here, and that is to play knight d4. So those that are looking to surprise somebody in the future, you can do some research on this opening. The point is that this is not wise. There's a lot of reasons why this is not wise. White gets some very interesting attacking possibilities here. There's a lot of problems on the e file. Trying to remember all the analysis. Rook e1. We could take and then throw a check. I'm not sure of all the most accurate things, but suffice to say, this position is opening up, and it's in white's favor. So let's come back to the game as it was played. And black opts to play bishop c5, which, it seems like a normal move. I didn't check the databases to see how often it's been played. I'm sure someone's played it before. But generally speaking, the bishop belongs on e7, and we want to keep the c5 square open for this knight. So now white does expose the flaw in black's move plan, and by playing knight d2, and suddenly white is threatening to simply win a pawn. So black opts to trade, and this develops the white bishop. So white didn't move this bishop here, black did, okay? Right. So castles, and white just keeps developing. And black's next move is a strategic error. But white has a little more space. White maybe could consider c3 at some point. Try to activate the bishop towards kingside attack. But black looks for more exchanges, and this was not a wise choice. Anything else probably would be reasonable. Let's develop the queen so the rooks are connected. Okay, that would seem to be a reasonable choice. Let's get the queen off the same file as this rook. Okay, a knight d4 just kind of helps white along, and white just exploits the tactical implications and is going to reach a theoretically winning game now because of this knight d4 blunder. So now white has a discovery. Okay, bishop attacks the rook, and the rook is attacking the bishop. So if you move the rook, you lose the bishop. So black plays c5, maybe counting on this as a defense, but there's a problem here. Let's see, it takes, and you needs to take the rook, take this off, and maybe at this point, black should take with the queen. But the problem he faces is this this pawn on d4 is a liability. It's probably going to be lost at some point. But by playing king f8, he's just going to lose the pawn directly because now white just has a fork. And at this, black should probably play g6 and just accept the loss of a pawn here. But strategically, black is losing this now. So queen b6 grabs the pawn, threatening to win a rook, and lo and behold, there goes another pawn. And all black can do is make one move threat. This tries to trap a bishop, but white has time to get out of that. Plays a4. Now, black pushed b4. What happens if he takes here? The idea being white must take this, and black is able to come down, at least get a pawn for his trouble. Well, the black king is exposed here. It would seem to me that queen f8 check is going to be deadly. This king is just in a bad shape, and all we need to do is shove this pawn and get this rook into play. So it doesn't really matter. Black's in trouble here. So he pushed by with b4 and gives a check. And now the idea is bring the rook up, probably bring the rook over, bring the rook down, play for mate. But white has even just a good idea. He just plays h4. And black looks at this. He's down 2 pawns. His king position is compromised. And white is threatening to advance this pawn down the board and become a queen. Black chose to resign here. Does he have a defense? Well, you've got to protect this square. Let's try it. King d7, push. I can't play rook h8. The rook hangs. So let's stop here. Here it comes. Now, what has black accomplished here? Well, he stopped the pawn from coming in. Now white just says, I'll just pick up this. Wait, we don't even have to play h7 right away. We can just stop and take this. That puts white 3 pawns up. Right, white has 7 pawns on the board. Black has 4. That should be decisive. So black was his worst enemy here. He followed theory to a point, innovated, and got punished. So very, very fine moves by patzertoNM to exploit these. And the lesson here is you take your time in correspondence chess, which I've been preaching here on chess.com for over 7 years. And not everybody heeds my advice. Not everybody knows my advice. I'm trying to change that. Well, thanks for watching.